Hello and welcome everybody. We're back with our second series of the night, or the afternoon I guess, on the stream. We'll get to the evening though, don't worry, because we have one more after this. But before we get there, Crumbs, it's going to be a fun one here between Golden Guardians Academy and FlyQuest Academy, who, as you mentioned, did 2-0 yesterday.
Yeah, Golden Guardians looked so much more improved. We had an interview with Niles where he stated that the reason behind the improvement was focusing on not taking too much from the enemy, making sure that instead of going for one giant play, they'll be able to chain just small victories after small victories, and that eventually that will win them the game. And it's that attitude that has actually allowed this team to progress week after week, and now they've hit their first 2-0 weeks. So if they continue that improvement, they could just round the corner at the very end of the split and make it into a really strong position for Proving Grounds.
Well, it's funny too, right? Oh, it is. Sorry, I'm trolling. It's TSM.
We're
CLG.
trolling. We're trolling.
I missed the game. All right, TSM CLG. Let's take it back. Okay.
I got hype.
Me too. Well, we'll get hype next game. Save that hype, Crumbs. We're gonna need it. We're gonna need it when I say the wrong team again. No. TSM vs CLG. Obviously, a classic rivalry is across League of Legends in general. In Academy, though, has been a little bit more muted, as both these teams are definitely trying to find their footing.
CLG more in particular, I think that yesterday they really got exposed against a Team Liquid that came out firing in all cylinders. TL had a draft that is super relevant to the meta. The Swain in the bot lane, the Sejuani top, the Karma with the Xin, executed on it really well, and CLG could have prevented that draft from happening. So I think if they learned a lot from that game, they will approach today with a better view on Champion Select. While TSM, the fact that they did split against Evil Geniuses shouldn't shy one away from this team's improvements, because they did have that mid-season change takeover instead of Sword. They're still adjusting, and it's still looking good though. It really is a team that's finally clicking together. They didn't start the split with a strong showing. I believe they went 0-2 and really struggled to get it together, but slowly this team has been getting very explosive, and I think big part in the addition of this new mid laner.
Yep, splitting yesterday there. So both these teams were looking to improve on their results from yesterday, with CLG getting 2-0'd by TLA, as you mentioned. Takeover is still in. Of note, again, it's interesting. We kind of hear that they'll be splitting 50-50, but obviously for right now, Takeover is kind of playing catch-up because he wasn't able to be in LA and actually play the game. So be curious to see kind of how that develops for TSM. But the rest of the map should be pretty well equipped to get stuff done as well. Right? Haunter is a long-time veteran, so is Cody. These are both very talented players. Yosun's been pretty good. And Hyper, one of the newer players, is another player kind of in the TSM war machine, right? That's being, scouted and brought in and kind of developed in their academy rosters. And of course, they have junior teams as well. So kind of curious to see how that works out. Whereas the CLG side is really interesting, right? If you think about kind of how this roster came to be. Hooks is still here, right? Used to be Auto, now Hooks once again. And also rolls up from support, which has now been quite a while ago, right? I think well over a year, if not coming on to 2 or more for himself. Katsuri and Tien, right? Both from OCE, some of many players that have come to North America to play across all of the different leagues and places that North American League of Legends has to offer. There's collegiate players from OCE. There's, of course, LCS players from OCE. So they're everywhere, Crumbs. They're playing just about everywhere at this point.
They're casting.
Is the other piece, right?
This very game.
They're still here casting. We can't get rid of them. And RGS, right, is the other big one. Another player that role swapped. Back to his original role, and I think given the current state of League of Legends, solo lane is maybe more appropriate to think about than necessarily mid laner or top laner. But RGS is a player that I think always felt comfortable even in the top lane on majors, and I feel like has been much happier to be in mid lane now more permanently. So very interesting squad here on the CLG Academy side. Curious to see how these teams go, as again they are both looking to improve on their records from yesterday. TSM would like to take a sweep, and for CLG they're just looking to pick up at least one game here, if not both.
Yeah. The sweep for TSM would get them at that sweet spot of at least breaking 50% on their win rate, which if you're trying to contest for the top, you obviously want to be in that position. Well, our CLG just finding one thing that works for them that isn't the fiddlesticks, I think is critical, because the fiddle clearly worked. I'm not sure if TSM will ban it again, though, because that was a very powerful champion that Keel was able to play. So it seems to be an opportunity that CLG could pounce upon, because that's been their issue, just finding a draft that really speaks to them, that works for what the players want to do. Fiddle's worked out. Everyone's been banning it. This is the opportunity where it's available. And so I want to see if CLG go back to that pick and try to force it a little bit more than usually we see it, where it's a counter to the Rumble.
All right, well, Time Kench, Lulu, Lucian, Karma, of course, Nocturne, Renekton. Pretty standard, right? Also, like, quite a few target bans. Just the Enchanters kind of being taken away as, like, the obvious top meta picks. Everything else really being left open. So, TSM gonna see what they can do with their first pick. They will take Lee Sin, which has been notably absent from our first 2 games of the day. Gwen's also open, by the way. Forgot about that one. So, TSM playing with fire here. Gonna be trading Lee Sin for Gwen and one more champion, which feels pretty dangerous. But Tristana is apparently the champion of the day. Going to be going either mid or bottom lane here for CLG Academy.
Always tricky to keep track of Gwen when she's almost always banned, and then when suddenly it happens, we're just expecting it to happen because it has been the case for almost every matchup. But Set, Rumble, Fiddles, Diana, these are the champions that I think are going to be really prioritized. TSM could hide some picks if they want to match the Tristana as an AD carry right now, but it seems like they're instead just going to prioritize the Rumble and making sure that the setup around him is fine by securing the set. This was what I thought Cloud9 would be playing last game. This time around, though, TSM get it, and I hope they do well, or at least show some synergies with it, because these combinations are just so heavily priced, and for good reason. They work so well together.
All right, so what's the third pick now for CLG? Enemy is showing the Rumble.
I think maybe Nautilus.
Aha! Not Fiddle. There's Nautilus.
Yes. It's a good deny. You don't want to give up Nautilus as well to TSM Academy. Otherwise, it doesn't matter what you pick. You're just not going to survive the engage. It'd be way too nasty. They're still going to probably get a Leona or an Alistar or even a Braum. So I think TSM can always enhance their engage by a little bit more. It just won't be as effective as having the point and click of the Nautilus ultimate.
All right, well, obviously won't get Leona because CLG Academy are going to go ahead and ban that. Viego also was available, but is going to make it to Phase 2 before he finally sees a ban. Again, quite a few powerful champions left up here, but clearly teams have a little bit of a different priority about which ones they want to be picking and banning around, at least in the earlier stages of the draft. There's Rel banned by CLG, taking a very good team fighter off the board, even though Rel's laning isn't all that crash hot. CLG don't want to have to play against, again, even more engaged. TSM are going to have a lot already. Trying to at least take out the most egregious offenders of mass engage from the support role, as Silas is going to get banned by TSM Academy.
Interesting that the Silas ban is here, because this makes me think that TSM could also flex the set into the support role. If you feel like the bans on the support have been too heavy to deal with and you don't want to go with a Thresh or a Braum as your answer to the Nautilus, then you could just flex the set down there and still pick another top laner that you'd maybe have an ultimate that you just don't want to steal with. So there's a lot of options here for the TSM side, and more than anything, I just want to see where their priorities lie with these flexible champions, because if you can include the support as set into the bottom lane, we've already seen like TSM be so successful at it. They won't, though. They'll just keep it nice and steady, nice and standard. It's going to be the Alistar.
Yep, Alistar Ezreal. Not all that good in lane, but perfectly good in the mid game, and especially as we know, as Ezreal gets items. Also, sadly, not Fiddlesticks this time around. Crumbs is going to be Sin Zhao instead. I think that's mostly a nod to Gwen not wanting to maybe overload, and also giving RJS the ability to play a mage in mid lane. Also, he could just play Gwen if he wants to play that instead, because Camille is the hover and Camille is the lock-in. Tian, definitely a pick he was known for back in OC, if my memory is serving me correctly. So he's going to be happy here as RJS will take the Gwen instead, which is fun. We haven't seen too much Gwen mid, actually.
No, we haven't, but she's up against a lot of mid laners that are melee, so that works. Normally, you just don't want to take these matchups into champions that are going to outrange you, but against Set or the Lee Sin, whichever you're up against, she's going to be happy, and it's not like Rumble is going to be really prioritizing the ganks against her, because her Shroud is just very powerful in dealing with Rumble's gank pattern. You just press W, he can't slow you. You dash away, again, he can't slow you. The 2 instances of your Harpoon get zoned out by her, so she's going to be very safe in the mid lane. And I need to see CLG really capitalize on the last pick that they've got, putting a lot of pressure on TN. He's taking Ignite, so he is in danger for getting set up with a gank from Hanser and Hyper. But if he can pull off some solo kills, start split pushing, there's a good avenue for CLG to get advantages in the game that TSM is not fitted to deal with.
The top lane's actually really interesting. I think a special level 1 could be very explosive. I mean, Set is so good at level 1, but there's like just generally a lot of fun interactions here, like Hookshot versus Set. Facebreaker is one that can go either way depending on like who's outplaying who. And again, with that jungle pressure, as you mentioned, definitely plenty of places for Hyper to go on the Rumble, which is always good to see. So it's going to be like strong topside versus strong topside here, which is pretty common in this in the game lately. But it should be a lot of fun here to track other matchups. As Tien actually did go Flash, thought a little bit better about the Ignite, it seems like. But yeah. I think I like definitely much more safety than taking the Ignite here up against the pressure of Set and Rumble.
Totally agree. It's just too easy for Hanser to actually flash in, stun, and actually win the fight right away, and then you fall behind because the wave is in a terrible spot. So not only does he go with the flash, but taking the grass, ensuring that the lane is as smooth as possible, because this pick will just dominate the side lanes later into the game. That's the value that he's trying to get here. Just survive the lane, split push after, and TSM doesn't have champions that deal well in these 1v1s. And so Diana might just be the answer that we're starting to see from teams around multiple leagues to the split pushing, to the as a split pusher to the team fighting rather, because everybody's trying to 5v5 you, trying to dogpile team fight. Well, Diana can not only contribute to these fights, but you can move away into into split pushing, and you also have true damage that will keep you always relevant dealing with people that are just trying to stack HP.
All right, well, bottom side is going to be a leash there for TSM's jungler Hyper. Hooks here are going to pull the wave briefly. Looks like they are actually going to try and deny some here. Although Katsuri finally now going to go ahead and hit the wave. And topside already in a scuffle. Great grass proc there from Tien.
I like that little move that Hooks is trying to do. It's usually even more deadly in the top lane, because when you aggro all the creeps onto yourself and then they return to attack the wave, they all focus on the creep that's closest to it instead of randomizing for whichever one is right immediately in front of it. And so it ends up in all of the creeps attacking a single creep of the opponent, and if they can kill it quickly enough, you can deny the enemy a single creep of experience.
A little thing, but it does add up as top lane Hanser hitting level 2 already. We'll get the wave push first there into Tien's tower. Keel here on the Xin. Gonna go ahead and slap down the Raptors. And RJS, how are we doing? Nice and even on farm. I expect the matchup to be fun, actually, more than anything else. Gwen's probably... I think both champions are probably just fine. I feel like Lee Sin in general isn't picked to like straight up take over a lane. Your pun definitely not intended, but unfortunate. I think like he's just so safe, and you can set up well for your jungler and maybe outplay people if they make mistakes. But typically, you're just trying to like do Lee Sin stuff and not die, and then have impact later. As bottom side, hook landing in, your son out of there. Ooh, I don't know what he had to W to, but convenient minion, I guess, was placed there. Does get himself out of harm's way. As Katsuri already blew both summoners.
I felt like that was unnecessary, but just didn't want to take any chances. Does have Teal jungling in his vicinity, though, so they can take poor trades and still have their jungler backing him up. Does have the sweeper, though, to clear out ward in the back of the tri-brush, but isn't even going to look for it. It's just going to be happy recalling.
Oh, such a good punish here. Damage down. Hook's going to eat a lot of damage, even though the Aftershock was procced. Not quite enough protection there. Luckily for him, he had the Aftershock ready, so doesn't take too much damage there on the Nautilus, as Tien already been forced to TP back into the top side here. Down pretty significantly on CS, but we'll play catch-up here. But only a call now here, so definitely not investing in winning this lane early. Much more about winning the game in the side lane a bit later on. And Cole will help you, CS up a little bit more easily, especially if you're getting pushed.
Half the time, Cole is used as a way to get ahead and stay even further ahead. Other times, it's used as a way of falling behind and catching back up once you fall behind. So I think in this instance, it's going to be that one from Tien. It's just making sure that if you were to fall behind against the damage that Set can deal early, he'll still be relevant later into the game and will be able to catch back up by just about a few hundred gold. So Tien will likely concede the wave in many more instances just to stay alive and keep up with Hanser, knowing how powerful he will be come the mid to late.
Well, no need to right now. As the wave pushing in, Haunter now going to have to play catch up, but has quite a few here to take. If he gets them all, will be ahead by a couple CS. He's about a wave up, I would say, or close to that, but it is very close there in the top side. As Tien actually, with that big wave, now looking to bounce. Does go back and take the recall there, so despite using the TP early, doesn't lose a beat at all in the top side here. So playing pretty nicely as far as that little mini game is going.
It's the mini game of every lane, going after the
Especially
minion waves.
top lane.
Right, yes, it's just bouncing waves. You can get kills, you can get so many solo kills on your opponent, but if you mess up the wave every single time, you're still going to end up losing lane, which is one of the realities that people playing top lane quickly come to realize. Prioritizing the mechanics and the solo kills is not as powerful as making sure that the wave is always in the preferred state, because so many junglers and supports just love to camp this lane as well. And so the way that you handle your wave state invites more action.
Take over there. Oh, what a setup there onto Gwen. In he goes. First blood. Nice and easy. Hyper barely did anything. And Takeover finds the kill. Hyper, to be fair, did contribute enough damage to make that kill clean, but Takeover with a very fancy level 6 soul in there.
That really looked too easy. He had so much damage against RJS, who has gone with more damage early on. He didn't go with armor. He's gone with the Amp Tome and the Dark Seal, so that just makes him so squishy, because look at the health which RJS is at. He's actually very healthy at the start, but Takeover just landing every skill, knows how much damage he's got, and a nice ward hop there to get him right into the Rumble. Even though he didn't do that much, just landing that first slow is enough to tell RJS that there's no point in flashing, that he better accept his death.
First slow, Dark Harvest procs, and that was just enough from Hyper to get the assist and make sure Takeover got the kill nice and quickly. So very well played there as TSM Academy's mid laner alongside his jungler, and has the Iron Spike whip now finished. So it's a good time for Lee Sin in lane.
Always a good time on Lee. You're saying how the reasons why you want to pick this champion. I feel like a lot of the time it's just with how safe he is. He is just so difficult to gank. You can play so aggressive because of that safety. Right? Oftentimes champions are able to play aggressive because their kit lends itself to a lot of harass, but Lee Sin's kit not only lends itself to harass through a wave, but being able to escape out of every situation that gets thrown his way. There's almost no combination of champions that can truly lock him down and kill him that is currently played in the top 2v2 without having Lee a window of opportunity to outplay it.
It's an interesting thing, right? Because Lee is so prevalent right now, but I wouldn't be super upset if Lane Lee stayed around forever. I think maybe probably going to tone down a couple things, but I'd be fine. Lane Lee Sin's a great champion. He's been around almost the entire history of League of Legends now. I'd be very happy if Lane Lee Sin was in our life for a long time, Crumbs. So we'll see. Certainly in the meta right now, and Takeover's putting that on full display. Dragon being taken by TSM Academy as well. This Hyper is going to go ahead and Flame Spitter down the last remaining health on the Dragon. TSM feeling comfy.
If you're going to give us Lane Lee Sin the whole time, I'm asking for new skins, because we've pretty much seen them all by this stage, so give us that at least.
It's happening again. He missed a Q, though. Takeover with unexpected miss, but equalizes nice, forcing the flash. Flash Q, see you later. Nope. Takeover, I don't think, in range, and also kills behind the mid laner as well, so they'll just take the flash there and take the damage they've done. Hyper going to go walk up to the top side of the map now. Tien going to be tested. Here's Haunter, Dunkaroony. Tien there finds a hookshot onto the wall, though, but not enough left. Flashing for Hyper, gets the easy kill. And now Keel is about to get himself ganked by Takeover there. Does flash in there. Hyper going to die. No, the safeguard's there. Keel will finish off the kill, but Takeover surely can get this trade back here, and indeed he should be able to. Great interrupt there. Will actually give Haunter the kill, but it's a kill nonetheless for TSM.
TSM is just transferring the mid 2v2 to every other part of the map, and CLG is not coming up with answers against it. they are able to trade that single kill back, but still TSM has their ways in the position where they'd love to see it. It's getting pushed in. He has red buff. Let's take a look at TN here, because where does he use his ultimate? I believe it was right off in cooldown. Used it right at the very end to try to lock down the Rumble when Keel arrived, but it was just a well-timed gank out of Haunter. I think he needed to use the hookshot in a different way to escape that, but all in all, TSM is just moving across the map, and TSM and CLG without vision is just not expecting it.
All right, well, Lee Sin now 1-0-1. Hyper with 2 assists and a kill of his own despite the death. And now the Rift Herald's going to get started. Haunter actually TPing in to make sure that happens. Yosun here near mid as well, so CLG cannot get in for this Herald. The TSM are going to continue to stack up objectives quite nicely. They're up 1,200 gold with their kill advantage that they've gotten. And Hyper should be able to extend that by taking away this Rift Herald and applying it to any of the plates in any of the lanes, as Cody is getting himself ganked. Ezreal with both Suns and Arcane Shift. Can he escape? Not if Katsuri is hitting him, although there is no wave, so Yosun's going to walk back down, and Cody's actually going to be fine.
That was well played there out of Cody Sun, just clearing out the minion wave. He sees members of CLG coming through. He knows that the dive will happen if the turret aggro is on minions, so he clears out and ensures that he can get that, because Rumble is in the top side. And so CLG tries to make a play in the cross map after Herald's been taken, but now TSM is just answering. Hooks is in trouble.
Extensive commitment here by CLG, and Hooks is going to have to pay. Cody Sun, though, in trouble, gets rocket jumped on and killed. And that is going to be a 1-for-1 trade, but Keel now tanking up the tower. Yosun walking in, going to force out the ulti. As the Rift Tower's been popped up, the tower's already dead here, and it got the charge through. Not a trade CLG wanted to make.
Not at all. It's a 1-for-1, and there's no one to actually get any plates in the bottom side. So they just get a kill while TSM get that same kill, get plates in the top side, and get to reset faster. So they're going to make it to whatever play they want to go after next, before CLG gets to make it out onto the map. The supports, the bot laners are now moving into the mid lane out of CLG. They're trying to make something happen, see if grouping together can give them an avenue to stop the bleeding from the wound that TSM has already opened.
Yeah, it didn't look so bad when I last checked the gold lead, but now TSM are up almost 3,000 gold, which is very significant when the game has only been going on for 12 minutes. The TSM in full control right now. CLG have a couple kills kind of answering back. Tien's still scaling there on the Camille, looking for that Trinity Force, or maybe the Divine Thunderer. Certainly has plenty of Spellblade options in this day and age. But the Mythic's already done for both solo laners here. CLG looking to dive here. 1v3 for Haunter right now, but does have ulti, does have flash. Hooks up here. Ooh, actually gets out of the way there. Shield's up as well.
Wow.
Gonna maybe get the kill back. Indeed, he will find the trade. Haunter actually gets the facemaker, finds himself the double kill. As Tien will eventually get the trade, but Haunter played that so beautifully.
He just outplayed them so hard, and TSM is getting everything on the map. Takeover's trying to get a 1v1 kill as well. Yosun is coming for backup.
Good dodge there by RJS. Needed to get away from that Q. But Cody Sun, in the meantime, is just finishing off the plates in the bottom side of the map. And let's not just want to get Haunter, just completely outplays the 1v3.
He really does, and so he's just waiting for Hooks to commit spells. The second he knows he's got turret aggro, he has no problem aggroing onto him. Already had the Stride Breaker, so he's so tanky now. And then with the flash back to pull the Xin into the turret, because Diana, while her aggro did switch over after the Xin, when she presses ultimate, drops it, goes back over to Keel, and he'd already been taking some previous auto attacks and haymakers from Haunter, so he could not withstand it despite being a Xin that's building HP, that has the ultimate available. Set's got fists. He's in your range. He doesn't care. He'll still damage you.
Yeah, so 3-1-1 now for Haunter. Again, does have Divine Thunder finish now on his Camille, but gonna be tough. With Haunter definitely keeping up in the 1v1, now probably ahead, thanks to the extra gold he collected. Hyper also continuing to have great dragon control here for TSM. So Smite there for Hyper is going to collect it nice and easily. And TSM can just keep doing what they're doing, honestly. Like, it's a very smooth game for them so far. Really impressed by TSM Academy once again. As down bottom side, Hooks is in trouble. And Hyper's going to grab that kill. Another great gank with the Equalizer to set things up. And even with the flash, Hooks just can't get away as the Alistar goes in to finish him off.
Tristana can't even stay. This whole play is happening when Takeover is also rotating down to the mid lane, and now they're grouping up. They're going after Gwen as two members. TSM's making 2 plays on 2 different parts of the map, and CLG just cannot answer.
Takeover, I feel like they're gonna dive here. Yeah, LJS is like not safe in the Gwen zone, but that's not good against the melee champions. Does flash out of the way. Takeover taking a little bit too much damage, is maybe going to be finished off, but not yet. Haunter finds the dunk there, pulls TM back. They get the kill. Takeover lives, and TSM walk away from that dive with a kill.
Wow, he is so strong, able to survive out of that one. I think he already had the Gore Drinker completed, and TN just not able to get his precision protocol off. So low was the Lee Sin, but if that play doesn't even work out to take him down, CLG need to start thinking about including hooks. You need more crowd control to make these plays happen. You need a frontliner that can set them up better than what has already been many fights that TSM has won. They're just running away with this game, and the mythics that are being completed are just taking them to new heights. This Rumble is so powerful now with the Night Harvester, and he hasn't even been the spotlight of this game. He hasn't made the flashiest of moves out of TSM, yet quietly his DPS is just going through the roof. The rest of the team is built to set up plays around his own damage.
Yeah, I know we talk about it a lot, but this is like a great illustration of why we love Rumble set Lee Sin topside so much, right? You have so many options. Rumble has so many different places he can wander to try and team up for a kill. And of course, like, both these champions are great at pushing in and then helping out Rumble. Like, everything just works so harmoniously here, and this is a very good illustration of that, particularly by Takeover, right? Haunter maybe has the scoreline and the flashy outplay to kind of show for it here, but that's an individual thing, right? Takeover has only been doing well in mid lane for himself and setting up to get the kill that actually ended up being the first blood on RJS. But his constant pressure leaving the lane, setting up plays with his team has been, I think, the thing that's really bringing this mid game to bear for TSM. And again, like, 8 kills to 3 is nice. Being 5 kills ahead and 2 towers up is very significant. They're up 5,000 gold now.
I think an area of these champions that's so overlooked is that their level 6 burst is just ridiculously high. When all 3 have ultimates, it's so easy to win these fights, to set up each other, and they only need to rely on cooldowns and health. A lot of them have shields, they all have shields actually, and sustain, and none of them rely on mana. And so all they need to know is, do we have ultimates? Do we have health? Yes, we can fight. That's all that it takes. And so it's more likely that they'll be able to look for more fights more often than any other counterpart that is reliant on mana.
It's a great time for Cody too, right? He can just chill out while the rest of the team dives in. He can shift in if he needs to, like right now. Not sure I recommend this one so much. Let's get Buster Shot back there by Katsuri into the waiting arms of Xin. If it doesn't happen there, Hyper just deletes poor Tristana. Hooks is soon to follow, and TSM it is too powerful. Haunter TPing in, suplexes Tien out of the play, and now Takeover is just looking to kick RJS through. Oh, it wore off perfectly in time as Takeover is going to retake that Q, gets the slow there with Tempest and is just still fighting, and lands another Q. The man don't miss as Cody is going to finish off the job.
I want to see Takeover play some more Lee Sin. He is looking really clean on this pick. Not just in lane, but outside of it to set up his team and the rest of TSM together understanding what each member needs to do in the current situation was the icing on the cake for me. Seeing how well they peeled for Cody-san when Tien was trying to dive Cody, when they tried to take down the Ezreal, when Katsuri is even jumping into him to try to Buster Shot him into the Alistar, into the Nautilus, and then just the peeling that happens onto Tien. That's what I really like to see. Tien is about to go in, gets stunned by the Alistar. Looking for the auto, gets suplexed in, and now he's not in range. Now Cody has already covered the gap.
And this is just so well played from Takeover. Waits for his cooldowns. It's the slow, nosy as the Q. Q comes back up, nails it, and allows Cody to get the follow-up kill there. So well played. Across the board, honestly, for TSM, that was the fattest angle that TSM found there. Flash W onto a minion, Pulverize, I believe, was the thing that really sealed that exchange, as both ADs were basically trying to bait the enemy into the people in the fog of war around mid lane, and it turns out TSM just had more people and more gold, so made it look a lot easier. I do like the attempt from CLG. They have to try something, but they are falling so far behind this game. They're approaching 8,000 gold down. RGS is getting bullied, it feels like, by Takeover, who's not even building, like, you know, super damage. He's going to be going, like, bruisery stuff, right? Sterex Gauge, kicking Tien there, follows the Q, now gets himself ulti, but the equalizes over the top, and Takeover is just going to get the kill. Like, that is disgusting.
Wow, yeah, the equalizer there to back him up. Tien just could not make it out. He had flash, but already with the Lee on top of him, with the Q tagging him, felt like there was no way out. I don't know if I've seen the Camille actually burn the flash in all the ganks that have happened his way. They have just been so quick to jumping her and putting her in situations that question whether she even should use flash or just accept the death. Has accepted the death every time, and TSM continues to gain advantages from those kills in the side lanes.
Man, Takeover is a joy to watch. Look at this man's hands. Even the little things, like how he's clearing this jungle is Lee Sin, right? Just taking everything away. Just so clean on this Lee Sin.
It's critical to get those auto attacks in. That's the energy refresher after abilities. Hanser feeling like a 1v3.
You're a bully. Doesn't know where everyone else is, but knows his team is coming in hot. Hyper ready with the equalizer once again! And there we go, your son's in. RGS gets the shutdown, but it costs them 2.
Okay, CLG gets something back. It's some gold, but it feels like TSM still is running the map. They're going to be able to shove out their minion waves in both mid, top, and bottom. Every 1v1 is winning, and now they get to secure vision deep into the jungle. It's already post 20 minutes, so Baron is a legitimate threat. These wars will have a consequence.
Is Takeover really wanting to fight this? He hasn't spent his gold.
Yeah.
Like, how much gold does he have? He's going in again! Hot Precision Protocol has the kick ready, finds the slow kick. You're kidding me. This guy is so good. Takeover finally going to get punished. Yes, he will indeed. All right. I thought so. I thought he'd gone too far. Tien picked up the 1v1.
Okay, yeah. Gets a little overconfident there with his damage. Camille still slaps. Camille still has a Divine Thunder, right? Her true damage is still very high, but now he completes his Sterex Gauge from a single pickaxe. So maybe next time when he is that low, he'll be able to go for that kind of play. And it is some gold over to CLG. So,
oh! Hook shot denied by Hanser as the next challenger enters the ring. Great flash for Tien to avoid the W damage. But Hanser just going to run him down and punch your face. And Tien going to get the hook shot reset. Tien looking to maybe make it happen, but Divine Thunder are not enough as Hanser will finish off what Takeover started.
Too bad Takeover doesn't get an assist, but he gets one in spirit there. Really praising Hanser for finding that kill off of the hook shot. Tien still had flash. He used it on that play. And CLG, though, is starting to feel like there's something going on for the side lanes that they can latch onto, though, because that kill onto the Lee Sin might be a common occurrence now. Tien just completed his Ravenous Hydra, so he will have a lot of sustain to deal with these bruisers in the side lane. So I would not be surprised if CLG now attempts to put more focus on the side lanes and just count on Tien to be their window back into the game, because everywhere else, when TSM joins up, they just don't stand a chance.
I mean, I feel like CLG not only have to play side lanes, but they also drafted to play it, right? You don't draft Gwen, Camille, and not think, can we play 1-3-1 this game, right? Like, that's a pretty core part of your comp's identity. You're probably at least playing 1-4, but I think Gwen's great in a side lane too, if she's at her item points. Now both Camille and Gwen are at 2 items, which is good. The bad news is that TSM are like almost 10k ahead, so gonna be tough to find room. But the plan is there for CLG if they can look for windows to execute. Unfortunately for them, they are still at the mercy of a pushing TSM and a Rumble with 10 Magi stacks now after transforming the Dark Seal.
And this pushing TSM continues to just go for the jungle, because this is where the Rumble shines. This is where their team fight takes advantage of the darkness that they've created through vision, and CLG just cannot answer. Slowly, they've been amassing this gold lead, even though the action hasn't been quite as high as you might have seen.
We're 2 levels down here. I think Takeover thought somebody else was coming.
He might have actually been able to win that, too. I'm not so sure. This Gwen with 2 items is pretty nutty.
That's true. Oh, Haunter into the wall goes Tien. Ulti's going to protect you for a little bit, but not too much longer. There's Takeover joining with the TP. Keel low on the front side. There's Ninja ulti. Not bad. Yosun getting low, but not dead. Equalizer. Absolutely massive from Hyper into the face breaker. And the Rumble, man, just too much setup. RJS is going to be the last one left as TSM Academy will find the ace for 1.
I think they can end the game. There's a wave coming here. You just ace them near the base, and you've got 3 auto attackers. TSM just obliterates CLG.
I mean, they're not going to not try, right? 25 minutes or less? Can TSM deliver the game win there up against CLG Academy? It sure looks like it. No one even going to spawn in time. It's Hooks with 3 seconds remaining, but that is not enough. TSM Academy going to demolish CLG here in game 1.
TSM is improving at an exponential rate every game we see them. Takeover has been fitting into this lineup so well. They just ran the game from that single play into the mid lane, started snowballing top, brought it back to the bottom, get the objectives once they're strong enough, pushing into the jungle, and CLG just didn't have an answer. Nowhere could they 2v2. The solo lanes all started to lose after gold was given over to Set and to the Lee Sin, and then every play CLG tried to make, individual outplays. Hanser in the top lane, in the bottom lane, Cody Sun. CLG tried. TSM just played better.
Yeah, I mean, Hyper ended that game with 24 Magi stacks, and maybe wasn't the most impressive player on TSM Academy that game. That says a lot when Rumble has that many stacks, contributing that much damage to a team fight, and it feels like, yeah, he played pretty well, but I think his solo laners maybe played a bit better, and maybe for Cody, this is like one of the best kind of games you could play. You didn't have to do anything. Just hit the minions. Just kind of watch the game happen around him. Very pleasant for Ezreal today.
Sometimes that becomes the existential crisis of the ADKs. I just don't do anything and I still win. I want to feel accomplished. I want to feel needed.
I mean, it was needed, but not that much, I guess, because TSM Academy firing on all cylinders. Your sound looked great. I mean, with the All-Star Gators that he did have to use, right, because it did feel like the top side for TSM was just doing so much work. The side lane plan, I see it right on the CLG side, but TSM just handled those lanes, and then Takeover just, like, completely overpowered that mid game. Like, from that first kill he helped set up Hyper with, Hyper was like, oh, I'm off to the races now on this Rumble, and Takeover just consistently pressured his lane and then got out of lane and made other things happen. Yes, that is exactly how you should play set Lee Sin Rumble topside, but TSM Academy maybe was one of the cleanest looks we've seen in Academy playing this trio, although Cloud9 Academy maybe begged to differ from last week. But super impressive stuff. I'm going to have to take a break because CLG, we'll see if they can bounce back crumbs when we return. It's going to be game 2 between TSM and CLG Academy.